Happy Friday and welcome to My Truth, Your Truth, Someone's Truth. I'm Tammy Harleb, aka Reutman, and I am here with my co-host. Yep, he's still my co-host in 2024. It's like amazing. But he gave me a big check, so I'm like keeping it going.
It'll buy me another couple weeks.
Exactly.
So Christopher Blakeslee here. Excited to be here with everybody.
Yep, excited to start the 2024 off to an amazing start. It's going to be an amazing year. Well, if you have good karma and if you're not lying and if you're not cheating, it's going to be an amazing year. If you're doing all of that, well, I don't know. It's going to be a little difficult.
Uh-oh. Should I be worried?
Yeah, you should probably be definitely worried. Okay. Anyways, so today we get an amazing treat. I mean, a truly amazing treat. Um, he's a friend of mine, even though I probably just blew his reputation by saying that. But we have the amazing pleasure of having Cosmin Mahadev sing on our show today, and it really is a special gift. He's a special person. He does amazing things in our community. He does amazing things to help people move out of the illusion of what they think life is into their truth through Kundalini and yoga methodologies so that I know he is solid, that Kundalini is a solid science, and he's going to share with us why that is. And, you know, Kundalini is thousands and thousands of years old, and a lot of the other yogas actually come out of Kundalini. Is that correct?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. Happy New Year
Thanks for
to
being
both
here.
of you and to everybody. It's going to be a special year. Gonna be lots of energy, and if we can maintain that balance between spirituality, which probably we're gonna talk a lot about it today, and also the material world, because 2024 comes down to an 8, which
Yes.
will push a lot of that energy, a lot of that prosperity kind of number, power, self-esteem, self-power. But if that can be kept in balance with the spirituality, it's gonna be a very successful year. So yes, Kundalini yoga and meditation, beautiful and very powerful science for like some teachings talk about thousands of years, some teachings talk about 60, 70,000 of years.
I'll go
So
with that because it's probably more accurate.
for a long, long time,
Yeah.
the science have been here for a long, long time, and due to the fact that this is kind of like our sixth time around as humanity on this planet. So there's a big chance that also the teaching, some of these teachings have been around for a very long time also.
Yeah. And I do want to get into that, but I want to backtrack a little bit.
Sure.
So, where are you from?
So I was born in Romania, in Europe. I lived there for about, I don't know, maybe roughly about 20 years. So did schooling and got exposed to some spirituality. Um, Went to university, and then I just started to travel. So finally ended up here in Las Vegas.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So from Romania, did you come to Las Vegas first, or did you check out some other cities first and then ended up just saying, I like Las Vegas?
There was a little traveling that happened, which was, I was fortunate to get that.
Hmm.
And then many times I was asked like, why Las Vegas? And I usually just joke this because, the plane just took me where there's a lot of light.
Yeah,
If you remember when you land here, there's like so much light.
right.
But in time, I realized, my purpose was here to do whatever, we're doing right now.
Yeah. I think people, they think of Vegas and think party, but Vegas has a very strong spiritual energy to it. And it is hard to connect with it in the city. But if you go an hour or 2 hours out of here, like you can feel that power, and that power is here too. If you can move the rest of the dysfunction away, it's an incredible power that comes with it.
Yeah, so I think we have a lot of good people, a lot of beautiful places
Yeah,
in the city and also outside the city, like Mother Nature and such.
yeah,
I think a lot of coming and going doesn't necessarily help us,
right,
because it moves a lot of energy around, and because the city is famous for a certain industry, that energy is not the, let's say, the highest in its
priority.
frequency. So
Yeah, yeah. And so, how did you get into Kundalini now? Because Kundalini is pretty new to the outer world outside of India, correct?
yes, so probably I would say roughly about 50 years. It's been taught in India for thousands of years, but even there, it was kept fairly secret.
Hmm.
So whereas, let's say, Hatha yoga or other types of yoga was much more popular and was allowed to be taught and shared in public,
Yeah,
like in ashrams and things of that nature, Kundalini yoga was still kind of like maintained, under a certain secrecy, even in India. So times change. Fast forward 50 years ago,
it's 54 actually, because it's 1969, and right when Yogi Bunjan brought it out
Gibajan
to
brought it
the
out to the United States.
so I know how old I am.
Oh, so this is how you do the math. I see.
That that's exactly.
Now,
I don't have to even use
now,
my finger.
now you told everybody. So 1968, he goes, Yogi Bhajan, which is a yogi from India, a master of Kundalini Yoga from India. He goes to Canada. He stayed there for just for several months, and then he moves to the States. So when he comes to the States, the world was, think about 1969, right?
Yeah,
Lots of hippies, lots of drugs, lots of trying to find God, etc. And some people might get burned, because of so much drugs. You start using the drug to find God, to find yourself, to
find
find
it.
divinity,
Yeah,
whatever. Then it kind of like gives you, something else. So because of that, he sees that maybe something like I mentioned earlier, Hatha Yoga, it might not be strong enough for whatever was happening at the time.
hmm,
So he decides to teach Kundalini Yoga, which is much stronger of a practice. We look at Kundalini Yoga that if you can practice 1 year every day, is the equivalent of about 22 years of any other yoga practice.
hmm,
So 1 year versus 22 years, obviously we go with 1 year because it's much faster, much more powerful. And the idea, it goes much more in depth.
right.
It goes to, let's say, to your cellular level, it goes to your DNA versus just, maybe some stretching and breathing, which is good, but you will just be at that level.
Yeah, and I know the power of Kundalini yoga. I studied with you for a while, one on one, and then I got it. I saw the amazing benefits, in terms of physical health, in terms of mental health, in terms of spirituality and awareness and growth, and kind of moving out of an illusion we put ourselves in. And I ended up getting trained in your teacher training, which became very powerful. And I remember one of the first things that you said is when you do this training, be aware because it's going to be like life is going to turn upside down. And boy, did it turn upside down for me in ways I couldn't even imagine. But I did see the benefits and the power. And one of my goals for getting trained as a Kundalini teacher was I really saw the benefits in incorporating that into the hypnotherapy that I actually do. A lot of the breathing techniques, a lot of the mantras, even the movements of it. And I was never a big fan of yoga in general. I found it extremely boring, and it took me quite a few years to find somebody that did Kundalini in Las Vegas, because that to me that just meshed with me a whole lot more. And I remember looking on the internet, going, everybody's in California, and anybody that I was kind of drawn to. And so I let it go for like a year or two. And then I decided I'm going to check again. And I remember pulling up your picture and saying, that's the person. And then I reached out to you, and that's how you and I kind of became friends in a way. I mean, I did one on one sessions. We got into deep conversations in the way that we saw things. Not always the same way, but it was fun because I could express myself, he could express himself, and it was all good. And sometimes we realize, well, we're just saying the exact same thing, although we're just saying it with different words. And then, oh well, a good argument sometimes is a good thing,
Yeah.
you know. But how did you get into it? What drew you to it?
So most of the time on when it comes to yoga, people take classes. This is kind of like how the growth happens.
Mm-hmm.
People take classes, then they really fall in love with the practice. Then they say, I would like to learn some more. So maybe they go to some workshops or retreat. Then I would like to learn some more. And then they sign up for a teacher training. Like, for example, tomorrow we start our ninth program of teacher training. So we did for the 9 years, for the last 9 years, every single year in January, we start teacher training.
Right.
It goes from January to May. And we have like so much, let's say, experience within these 5 months.
Right.
Because
I
everything
know.
is a lot of experience, not so much like reading books or whatever. But for me, it was more like, when you wake up and you remember something and you
Yep.
just start running with it like that.
Yep.
So I don't know if it's a surprise or not. Sometimes people be like, oh, wow, okay. Like I never did yoga before the Kundalini yoga or before just going to the teacher training. I just jumped literally into teacher training. After I was done with that, I just took some time to go deep into it on my own, and then I just start teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So my experience before that was spirituality in general. This was more like a click, like literally when you go into a room and you turn the lights on or off like that.
Yeah.
So it feels like in a previous life I did it, and
Yeah.
I'm just continuing that.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I am of a mindset that we don't actually learn anything, but we remember everything.
Yeah.
And so everything around us is presented to remember, to take our place. So this was obviously your place and where you were headed. And I imagine you can sit back and look at the stepping stones of your life and say, okay, I can see these little stepping stones that were moving me in this type of direction from the start to now where you're at, you know.
Well, uh, one of the funny stepping stones is in Kundalini yoga we wear a lot of white, right?
Yes, I know, except me. I
Well, you're
completely
wearing white today.
today I actually did, but you've seen me through your teacher's training, and when I come in, and it's
You
usually
wear all the
I'm
colors.
the all the colors. And interesting, during our teacher's training, when I did that, a lot some other people followed me, which was kind
Yeah.
of funny. And it's just my rebellion.
Well, all the colors are beautiful and they all have their own powers. It
Yeah.
just happens that the white has the cumulative power of all of them.
Yes, I
If you
am.
just add all of those up. But before I actually, let's say, turn on the switch, I would find myself buying white clothes.
Oh,
And I
interesting.
didn't know, like, what in the world am I buying white clothes for? Because, just like mm, to go somewhere or do something, you don't necessarily just buy only white clothes for every single day, like anywhere from shoes to t-shirts to pants to everything. So I'm like, I don't know, this is gonna serve for something.
Yeah.
At that time, I didn't know that the switch is gonna be turned on, and then probably I would say maybe like say 6 months later or whatever, they all came to be used, every single part of them, because now they had a purpose.
Right. I mean, that's the amazing thing about life is we may not understand what's happening at the time, but it has its purpose. We are a body that this thing we call God or the universe or whatever you want to call it runs through. And we resist it so much until we realize that just get out of its way. It knows what it's doing, why it's doing it, how it's doing it, and when it's doing it. And the more you resist, the harder it is. But as soon as you let go of your resistance, it like flows and everything falls into place. And then you can say, aha, now I see it so clearly. And then life is so easy because you're just going with the flow, experiencing what we need to experience, for our own movement forward and to help not only ourselves, but to help everybody else in the world.
It it does happen that way in the big picture. There's From the time you're trying to make tea and you put the water on the stove,
Yeah,
it will take a while until it boils, right? For the
exactly.
water to be ready.
Yeah.
So sometimes You know, some people might be at the beginning of the journey. The let's say the water is still warm.
Right.
Some people might be a little, the water is getting really hot, almost there.
Yeah.
Or some people might be ice cubes. They
Right.
didn't even start yet.
Right.
So it's totally fine. The common thing is that the water will change its state, meaning everybody will get there hopefully sooner than later, so you can enjoy life.
Or they're not going to get it, and off the planet they're going to be.
But long term,
Long
everybody will
term.
get it.
Yeah.
Long term, everybody will. It's just a matter of, I guess, when.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, for your teacher training that's coming up tomorrow, hopefully they're watching so they can know that what you think it is not what it is. And it's going to be a journey you're never, ever going to forget. And I know the dedication that comes with that training. And it's a big, huge commitment every single day
Yeah.
for the whole training, in which even if you're so spiritual and so aware, there will be times where you say, i'm not i I'm not doing this, and then you have to kind of push yourself forward and say, but I have to, because if I didn't have to, I wouldn't be here. So just hang in there. No matter how many times you think to yourself, I'm not doing this anymore, do it, because it's going to be not only a tremendous benefit for you, but because you're doing this, you are some type of healer. You have some type of gift to give to the world. And this is another tool that you're going to find yourself using to be able to do that. And, with the energy the way that it is on the planet, more and more healers are stepping up to take their place. And this is a very powerful tool to be able to use for you to do your work on this planet.
I would say that most of the people that do the teacher training actually they do it for their own growth.
Hmm.
And then the natural step that happens after that, once you have it, you will just come out in a sense of like you're gonna start helping people.
That's right.
So even if initially people will be like, no, I'm just doing this for myself, it's totally fine. It's the good approach and the right approach because first you wanna make sure you have it.
Yeah.
You wanna make sure you have your ducks in a row and you have something to offer, something to give, something to share. If the bottle is empty, if the glass is empty, there's no water in it, what are you gonna give?
Right.
But once it's filled, and once you have your own experience, you just like, wow, this is amazing. Then the next thing, even if you say initially you don't want to be in those shoes of a teacher, you will teach, you will help, you will share.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the incredible. t- I learned the hard way, so I hope other people learn the easy way. Take life each day as it comes. Don't move yourself forward, because what you think in the direction you think you're going may, in fact, not be that direction. It'll change in a half a second and your mind will spin. And that's kind of what happened to me after I was done with the training.
Yeah, lots
So,
of changes.
yeah, lots of changes, lots of quick changes, which then said, wait a minute. Like, there is no past, there is no future, there is right now, and this is what you need to focus on. So,
Yeah.
Well, let's kind of let me explore that just a
Yeah.
tiny bit because you said that Cosmin warned you as soon as you start doing this, your world's going to be turned upside down. Is that a common thing, first of all, that as you explore, as you learn this practice, what is it that elicits that change, do you think? If you had to guess or if you know?
So when you come to, let's say, regular classes, let's say you come to a class at the yoga studio, that is a few times a week. There's like an hour and a half for those few times a week. When you come to the training we were just talking about, it's a little more intense. There's like
a
two
little.
weekends. I'm trying to be nice.
Don't scare anybody off by this.
There's 2 weekends. It's not bad. Two
Yeah, of
weekends
course.
per month, Saturday and Sunday, like 4 days per month.
Okay.
But it's kind of like, you know,
Like an all day, like
But
like a,
eight
yeah,
hour type.
that's the
yeah.
easy part of it. It's the day to
We,
day.
we're getting there.
He'll get us there, right?
So the the teacher training is much more, let's say, powerful
Mhm.
because you're in this container of energy where the shift started to change.
Okay.
The
And so
shift
other
started to happen.
individuals that are practicing, is that what you mean,
Yeah.
that energy?
So you have this room, we just call it container, this place where the energy started to rise due to the practice, due to the mantra chanting, due to the movement, breathing, due to the teachings, etc., due to the reverence. See, like you don't hear this in a regular yoga class. You don't say just fall forward with reverence and be like, what? How do I spell that? But you do need reverence because this is going to help you get closer to yourself and connect deeper the moment you see you have reverence for everything around you.
Mm,
How are you going to say God lives inside of me if you don't recognize that everything and everywhere else around you?
absolutely.
So by having reverence for everything around you, ultimately, you have reverence for yourself. So it's almost like a win-win. But when it comes to changes, anywhere from how you dress, I'm gonna go maybe the milder ones, how you dress, how you hold yourself, haircut and things like that. Like maybe before you just have this, and there's nothing wrong with the what do you call those, in mohawks or whatever,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're
Mo-
going back to the 80s, man.
mohawks and colors and they're beautiful. There's nothing wrong with them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Fashionable and they look good. But does it help me energetically, and does it help me grow? And if it does, keep it. There's nothing wrong. But as you go more into these practices and it becomes more subtle, you'll recognize that other things are important, and you might need or you might start using other tools to help you go there faster. So, example, if you have, and maybe we have somebody at home, hopefully don't make anybody upset already. If you have half of your head shaved and half of your head is not shaved, that creates an imbalance. Again, we're not talking about taste here, we're not talking about fashion, we're not trying to get the barbershop out of business.
Right.
It's going to create an imbalance because this is connected to your nervous system and to your brain. Meaning, you're going to be like this, you're going to be tilted in life. And then you wonder how come things are not straight and they're not even or balanced. Well, this is one of the reasons why. Friends will change. All those thousands of Facebook friends that you have, you never met.
Friends in quotations, right?
Exactly right. Diet will change. Nothing is mandatory, but the more you work on yourself, your physical body has its own wisdom, its own intelligence. So you might not be able to put in all kind of foods which are not good for you. Drinking, smoking habits,
Right.
So all those slowly are going to change. And the beautiful part is that you are not even looking to change them. You just realize that you haven't been smoking for a few days. You haven't been drinking for a week. You didn't do this for so long. They just pretty much drop.
It becomes a natural progression, it sounds like, right? As you change a couple things and you notice a
Yeah.
spiritual enrichment, you start to change more, almost like a rock in a lake, right? And the ripples spread out. Is that
Mhm.
It's growth. It's
it's growth?
evolution. Yeah.
And I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but when you
But he
touched,
does because he's going to be in that training at some point. I saw it from the day I met him.
yes, she has been saying that, and I have really enjoyed the few sessions that I have done with you, and I did feel the power in those and the power for change. And but when you touched on some of the changes, your imbalance, the diet, the going down to a cellular level, is Kundalini yoga? And I know the answer to this, but I want to hear yours. But it's based in science,
Mhm.
right? It has and I want to explore that to sort of tell the difference between almost a fitness yoga class and what Kundalini is and what it offers to everybody that's listening, everybody that's signing up and about to start their training. Um, but in what ways is Kundalini based in science? I
Got it.
know it's a large question.
It is, but we'll do our best. And sometimes we know things, sometimes we think we know things, so we'll just do our best.
Yes.
But my question for you is, what do you do tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.?
Uh, Truthfully,
How's someone the teacher training
I,
stuff?
He's busy. No, he doesn't do
yeah,
anything on Saturdays
I,
normally.
I, funny enough, I do a boxing course, and you can tell me whether or not that's an imbalanced thing, but it's been good for me. But I certainly am, and Tammy's been teaching me this that this might be one of my callings, and so it is something 100% that I am interested in, and I do feel drawn to it, and
Whenever
so
you feel ready.
absolutely, absolutely,
So let's go back to the science. So we consider yoga in general to be a science. And this science has been around for, again, we thought about some numbers before as we started,
Yeah.
anywhere from 5 to 10,000 years. Some teachings say even way beyond that. Um, traditionally it's thought about 10 to 15,000 years, and it was a gift given to humanity in a form of a science with a technology. To simplify it, meaning if you do these actions, if you say these words, if you do this type of breathing, if you move this way, if you do these practices, you're gonna get these benefits. From that perspective, no belief system is needed. You just need to sit down and do it.
And when you say these words, are you talking about mantras and
Yeah, mantras will be probably the what I'm referring to.
okay.
Yes.
Is
So
that the technology? Because I think a lot of people, they think technology, they think this microphone, that
The
television,
iPhone.
but you're not talking about that type of technology,
a technology that is used for your inner realm.
right?
So these are all, whatever we have around us is used for the outer world. And humans right now, 2024, we've been able to do a lot when it comes to that dimension of life.
Right.
We have freeways, we have satellites, we have hot water, we have food that can be delivered in 2 hours. We can have pretty much everything you can think of. Now, how much of our energy, of our interest, of our, let's say, resources went to do the same thing inward? And this is where the
In the
issue
last couple of
arises.
years, a lot of people have been pushed to do that through COVID. And
But generally, if you think about the whole planet,
right,
the push, especially in the last hundreds of years, Western part of the world, a lot in the last 100 years,
yeah,
has been towards the material life.
right.
So if we're able to apply, something similar, just different technology, because I'm not going to use the same microphone to do something for my lungs, right? Then I'll be able to do the same growth inside.
Mm.
So then the planet will be at a much better place. The society will be much happier. Humanity will be in a very good place because you're going to have, the, let's say, comfort in a sense of whatever is needed every day. You don't need to stay in cold. You don't need to go hungry. You don't need to go without these things. But in the same time, be rich inside. Have yourself on inside. Make sure that that develops also accordingly. So I think if we can put these two together, the outside with the inside together, they will be great.
Got it.
Welcome to My Truth, Your Truth, Someone's Truth. Who do we have on the line? I can't.
Are you still there? All right. Looks like we hung up, but call us back. I'm sure you have some more questions for Cosmin, but please feel free to call us back. You can see the number up on the screen. And sorry, we interrupted you.
No, no,
I
it's
think.
fine. It's totally fine. It's a flow, right? So
Yeah. Technology doesn't always
It's
work.
flow, boop, flow.
Yeah.
part of the flow.
Yeah.
And so, getting back into what you're describing, uh, with the technology that's inward and a lot of what I hear you talking about is a balance, right? Of kind of everything, right? Is it not just focusing on the movements physically of Kundalini yoga, but also the vibration and all those other things that are going on internally? Am I understanding this right? Oh, looks like we got that call back. Let's see if it works this time.
Welcome. How are you? Who do we have on the line?
This is Christopher. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
How are you?
Amazing. How are you?
Good. What are we talking about?
We're talking about Kundalini yoga. What are you listening about?
Well, I just tuned in and saw you guys on TikTok live at a phone number. I thought I want to call and see if they're actually live.
We're actually live. Wait, hold on. Let me check. Yep, I'm live. We're so glad that you joined us. We're talking about the science and the benefits of mentally, physically, and spiritually of Kundalini yoga. Do you know anything about Kundalini yoga?
I honestly no. I've heard, of course, heard of yoga like everybody else, but I've never heard of the specific version of it.
Okay. Well, it's a very old version of it, and we have been given a gift today to have Cosmin on our show, who teaches Kundalini and also meditation. And he is just starting to actually explain, what it actually is and the benefits of it. So if you want to continue to join us and, you know, open your awareness and learn a little bit more. Although I never say we learn, remember what you already know.
And,
All right. Well, I will disturb you anymore, but I just want to let you know I'm watching.
Thank you so much. And don't worry, we're already quite disturbed
hey,
way before you called.
hey, and Christopher, real quick before you hang up, thank you so much for calling in. Where are you calling from?
I'm listening to you guys from Las Vegas, actually.
Oh,
Amazing.
we'll have Cosmin tell you a little bit more about his yoga studio, what he's doing, and then maybe you can check it out. Apparently, there's some training tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. So we'll see you there.
Awesome. I'll be tuned in. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christopher.
Thank you. So, I mean, that was amazing, but we want to pull you back. So, Kundalini, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. I have been wrong before. I know that's a shock to you,
Whoa,
Christopher,
whoa.
but
The shock is that she admitted it.
exactly. But my understanding of Kundalini is prepare the body, prepare the breath to go into deep meditation, working on what people know as the main chakras and moving the energy up through that. Is that accurate?
So there's many ways to look at it, meaning if we talk, let's think about school. If somebody asks a question in the first grade, or if somebody asks a question in high school, or somebody asks a question in PhD, meaning we can go step by step and see where we start and what is, let's say, the ultimate like reach.
Yeah.
What are you gonna get out of it at the very end of the whatever of your trip,
Yeah.
of your journey?
Yeah.
Or we can stay at each level and see what it does over there. Meaning we say, okay, we take care of the physical body. You take care of the physical body to stay healthy,
Yes.
just to keep it simple. But long term, you take care of the physical body to allow you to prepare you for meditation. So it's like limbs, like stepping blocks.
Right.
We don't keep them necessarily separated. It's just an evolution, like a step by step kind of thing.
Right. And if when people do Kundalini, they notice because it's all integrated. It's not like, oh, we're going to do breathing today, or we're going to do movement today, or we're going to do meditation today. It literally is, we're going to start with movement. We're going to then do breathing. Then we're going to go deep within ourselves.
Yeah, so we
Right.
take care of the physical body first. We warm it up to make sure the hardware is in a good place. And then we do that via what we call kriyas, which are movements. We do some pranayam, which are, let's say, breathing exercises, and then we go a little into deeper, even more movement after like a shorter warm up, where we target a specific part of the body,
Mm-hmm.
and that can be, let's say, a certain group of muscles or joints, or it can be, let's say, the chakra, something more on a subtle level, or it can be the digestive system or the nervous system. So it can be tailored to something in specific.
Mm-hmm.
And that moves the energy so much that at the end, you're ready for, let's say, dessert, which is the meditation part.
Which is the gong. Dong.
The gong with the gong. So the gong is the relaxation part.
Yeah.
And the relaxation part we do either to absorb the energy right after these movements, so the body integrates it, the hardware, the software kind of like gets a hold of that energy and makes it part of it, or we just use the energy for meditation. So either way is fine. The idea is that you slowly, you get to this what we call meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And then in meditation, and now we're going again to the cherry on top of dessert, is where you disappear.
Right. You do nothing.
You just are.
You just are. Right.
So this will be, if there was a goal, I don't see there's a goal, but if there was such a thing, this will be the pinnacle. This will be kind of like the top of the mountain.
Right. And the more you can be there, the more you see things as they truly are instead of what the conscious mind wants to make them to be based on past experiences.
The more you're there, the more you realize that you're not and you have never been, and start
Exactly.
laughing, and then it's a beautiful day.
Yeah, yeah. I want to kind of back up because we throw out the word chakras. And I think there's big misconceptions about chakras and energy systems in the body in general, but mainly the seven chakras, because we have thousands of energy systems in our body. And I don't think everybody is quite aware of that. But when everybody pretty much knows when you say, oh, chakra, they know the 1 to 7. And then, of course, people have put colors to them, even though there's really not colors. And people think that they're in the front of the body when they're really in the spine. And I, I want to go there because I think people are misunderstood about having a chakra open and actually living through a certain chakra center. And so I know you're an expert on that, so let's do it.
So I'm not an expert in anything, but thank you.
No, you're an expert in everything and nothing.
It is best when you don't know anything. When you don't know anything, then everything comes to you.
Exactly. It goes like those who know do not speak, and
Yeah.
those who speak do not know.
Because if you know, what is there to speak about?
Exactly.
So there's, based on some traditions, we talk about 72,000 energy channels running through the body. Just like you have veins and arteries, there's like these energy channels. And then you have these energy channels. Some traditions talk about 360,000 of them or whatever. We'll just say 72,000 is easier to count.
Yeah.
Now, whenever these cross, whenever they meet, it becomes like a vortex. If you think actually here, let's say in Las Vegas, if you think about the spaghetti bowl, remember you have all those freeways on top of each other? There's like a vortex of energy when it comes to, let's say, the human subtle body. So in a medical sense, probably something close to a plexus, to a nervous plexus, right?
Yeah.
Now, where these energy channels meet, there's more energy there. These have their own identity, their own, like you mentioned, sometimes we talk about maybe colors, or maybe a mantra, sacred geometry, a deity, an element. It has all these attributes, all these things that you can learn about it. But most important is practical stuff.
Right.
Because you can have a t-shirt with chakras, or you can have pants with chakras, and your yoga mat with chakras doesn't mean anything at all. You're just fashionable, and that's all there is.
Are you bashing my yoga mat? It's usually it has all the chakras on it, but no.
It's good. Good for you. So there's 112 of them, but usually we refer come like, let's say maybe like 10 of them or something like that. And yes, the main ones, even though they're depicted, their projection is depicted as to the front of the body. You might actually see like posters, pictures, whatever, where you see these colors and whatever to the front of the body of the person. Those are the projections of the chakra.
Right.
Think about like a funnel. You remember you have that open mouth of the funnel, and then it just comes a little smaller.
Yeah.
So the chakra itself, it's in the spine, in a subtle realm, and then it just opens up to the front of the body. So that's what you see depicted on all these, drawings or whatever they are.
Okay. So the nadis, which are like the energy highways, right? They all meet at these centers. Is that correct?
So these nadis, these energy channels, run from the crown to the soles of your feet to your palms. It's like a whole network.
Right.
They stem from the navel. So if you think about where your belly button is physically, and if you go a couple of inches lower and you go right under the spot, but inside the physical body, there's a place there, like a nut, where these energy channels stem from. That's why we do a lot of work with the navel, where we move the navel, we engage the navel, we use the navel a lot to stimulate all these nadis in the same time. Otherwise, you're gonna take like a harp. You're gonna take one at a time. It's gonna be here forever. So the moment you stimulate this area a lot, this is where you stimulate this whole network of nadis, of energy channels inside of it.
That's amazing. And
That's
so,
why it feels good when you get a foot massage.
yeah,
That's why it feels good when you get a head
a head
massage,
massage.
when you massage your own palms or whatever, because you are stimulating these energy channels, the ends of these energy channels.
And I mean, if we can do it real quick, what is the difference between an open chakra and living through a chakra?
An open chakra is where things are working properly. Things are working properly, meaning each chakra is each wheel, as if we translate it from Sanskrit, is in charge of some part of the body,
Right.
some emotions. When it's working properly, some things are working properly in your life. When it's not working properly, when we say it's closed, we have to use some kind of wording.
Sure.
Then some things are not working properly either. And it can be anywhere from organs, like physical organs, to systems, but also on an emotional level. Somebody might feel like very confident, very powerful. For example, if this navel chakra is working, they will know who they are and they'll have self confidence. They'll know their path and which direction to go. Whenever it's not working properly, that is not going to be over there. So the opposite will be true. They'll feel weaker. Then there's no direction. Physically, the things will not work properly because they're not being nourished by the energy that's supposed to come out from this particular, wheel,
Mhm.
this particular vortex of energy called chakra.
Okay. And then, so what's the living out of it? Living out of a certain one.
So living out of it is, this is funny. Everybody can look at where they are right now in a sense of evolution, and you will know which chakra you live in.
Right.
Here's a couple examples. If somebody is, let's say, focused a lot on uh, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, was this kind of
Yeah.
like the, so probably they live a lot into the second chakra. Second chakra has a lot to do with sexuality, but also with drinking, with eating, with that type of frequency. Now remember, none of these are good or bad. It's not about that.
They
It's just
just
about
are.
evolution. It's
Yeah.
like this is where you are right now. If this is your maybe in the fourth grade, you're in the fourth grade, enjoy it. It's better to enjoy it than to go to the fifth grade and then go back because you didn't do the fourth grade properly.
Right.
That's why you will meet people which are later in life and they realize that maybe they were not active sexually as they needed to be or wanted to be to explore when they're 20, 30 years young, whatever. And now they're 70 or 80, they're trying to things. So it doesn't quite match anymore.
Right. Right.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So there will be, let's say, an example. Third chakra will be more towards ego. Anybody who has a very strong ego, in a sense of like, no, it's just me, it's just my way, I'm the best one, and the direction that is, living through that particular chakra. The moment we rise to the fourth, the anahata, the heart one, and beyond, then things start shifting. The moment you start living there, you just live more with compassion, more with love, more with your true self. 1, 2, 3 is the danger zone. Some traditions don't even talk about them. They say, no, this is for animals. It's not for humans. When you graduate, we're going to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some traditions we just keep those all together. They just say, no, you have to deal with your stuff, grow a little, and then we'll figure it out.
And then we'll just like figure it out.
Yeah.
And then as you move up, you move more into what truth is, opposed to what the mind is telling you it is. Moving much deeper into yourself and much more away from other people's influences.
Yeah, I mean, you get a wider spectrum. The glasses, which sometimes we wear with different shades, which tells us, kind of like, look at life in this color based on whatever projection from the subconscious mind start disappearing. So you start seeing reality for what it is. And then again, the goal, if there's such a thing, I keep repeating that because there is no goal. We just have to live and enjoy.
Right.
But then ultimately it's just everything just drops and you realize who you truly are, self-realization, enlightenment.
Right. Who and what you truly are.
Yeah.
Right. Which is all that is. Yeah. And I know, going through the teacher training and doing some stuff and opening the chakras, I believe, but you can tell me if I'm wrong. Christopher loves to point out when I'm
Yes,
wrong.
please.
That
Fingers crossed
to
she's wrong.
really open these different chakras, if you were to try to really open all of them, it would take about a year every day of pretty much doing it.
So there's things that you can do by yourself at home, like movements, certain types of breathing, certain mantras, and you can work on them. There's things that somebody can help you with by practicing Kundalini Yoga in specific. Kundalini Yoga in specific, let's say, deals with chakras. It's a
Yeah.
science that's based on these energy channels, energy vortexes. It's a science based on this, so that will help probably the most.
Hmm.
Now, time-wise, it can be a year, it can be less. It depends a lot how warm the water is.
How in the world?
Right? So if the
Yeah.
person is here, the person is here, it's a little different, right?
Going back to the tea kettle analogy that
Yep.
you gave earlier is what you mean.
Where
That's
are you
water.
boiling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you
Is it
boiling?
ice cube or is it steam already?
Yeah. So I'm wondering, how, how do you feel about moving our listeners through a little bit of a meditation?
Yeah, we can do something like that. And maybe we should mention first what meditation is, because just like with yoga, there's a lot of like, oh, this is yoga, and might be just you playing with goats. No offense, but playing with goats is not yoga. You're just having fun playing with goats. There's nothing wrong with that. And
Until you
It
climb
can
the tree.
it can be a beautiful thing. Let's just put it in its correct place, right?
Right.
Yeah.
call it play with goats.
Right.
I know this. When every time I talk about this, it doesn't make me very popular, but let's just word
Well,
it.
You don't need to be popular.
truth doesn't-
Christopher's not popular. And look,
absolutely not.
he does
But-
fine.
That's right.
The idea is, if I go to a class and the title says yoga, something yoga, and I go to that class and I end up doing something which is not necessarily yoga. Maybe it comes from yoga. Maybe it's a physical exercise. Maybe there are some bunnies there.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a glass of wine or chocolate or high heels or whatever. You
Red
might,
leather.
you might laugh, but there's a lot of things around there, right?
Right.
So if you go and you go back home, how was it? Well, I went to this yoga with some chocolate and some red wine.
Right.
There were some high heels on the side, whatever, right? So maybe it's not what is considered to be yoga traditionally for thousands of years. We're not saying don't go and have fun.
Right.
By all means, go and just play and do whatever you want. But in order for this system, for this science to continue to work, we try to keep it the way it is for thousands of years.
Right.
If we dilute it, if we change it, then it's not gonna work. This is the idea. There's nothing like, anything beyond that.
And before we get into what meditation is that part of the reason why it was sort of maintained within India for so long? Is that the worry that if it was spread out to the world, that it might be diluted in that way and then benefit fewer people?
I think there are two main reasons. One of it is so powerful that they said, it's probably for some chosen ones. You had to be a little more advanced and you had to qualify for something like that. Nowadays, you come to yoga class and you can experience a kriya, a meditation, a pranayama in a class. You just pay $20 for a class and it's already there. Prior to this, hundreds or thousands of years ago, you might need to wait years or you might need to do service months or years to get one of these exercise or practices.
20 or
Earn it.
30 years as somebody's servant.
Wow, unbelievable. But by that point, I would imagine the individual has developed the intention that might be required to receive the lessons through.
There's a lot of truth in that. When you are doing those years, months or years of service for an ashram to a master, is not for that particular person, if they are indeed a master, to take advantage of you. There was prep work. There was prep work to get you ready to the right frequency to match, the power, the strength of whatever was given to you. Otherwise, you'd miss it or it will hurt you.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like, oh, let's put them in the kitchen.
Some free labor.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it was beyond that.
Anyways, we have about 13 minutes left. And so if Cosmin can teach a small skill that's going to benefit
that okay?
everything, and
Yeah,
Christopher
sure.
keeps quiet for a moment. He does the same thing in our morning meditations. Like he just wants to
Just
talk to
elevates
other
everybody.
people.
So briefly, just so we can kind of on the same page what meditation is. So there's a lot of tools because we don't have other words in English we call meditation. Meditation for this, meditation to do that. Those are just tools to get you to meditation. Meditation is actually a space. Meditation is not the tool, how you move from A to B. If B is, the place to let's say to be, this is connects directly with the meditation, that is a space. So when you fall into that space where there's no thoughts, time disappears, physical body disappears, the mind disappears, there's no time, there's nothing, that is meditation. You are alert, you're aware, you're not falling asleep, you're not dreaming, there's no imagery, there's no thoughts, there's no you repeating anything. that, let's say, void, that emptiness, they're just pure consciousness, the state that is meditation. How you get there, if it's breathing, if it's movement, if it's chanting, whatever, this is a tool to get you there. But this is not meditation, it's just a tool. But we use that word a lot.
Meditation is the awareness level up from where I guide people in hypnotherapy to do that work.
Makes sense. Well, so now that if we have a decent understanding and you have an idea of how to maybe lead us and our listeners in to get to that space of meditation,
Well, let's do something for a few minutes if we have time.
that'd be great.
Yeah, we have about 10 minutes left, and I want to make sure that you can promote your
Yeah, so let's do just a few minutes. We can.
Okay, we can do a few minutes of this. Now, please remember, especially if it's your first time, second time, whatever, there's gonna be still a lot of thoughts. If you're a beginner, there's gonna be a lot of thoughts. Don't get disappointed. Just stay, listen to the instructions, and just every day put aside 5-10 minutes. The more, the better, and keep practicing. Little by little, you're gonna get into the space of no thoughts. If initially it's like, oh my God, I cannot do this, everybody when they start, it happens exactly the same way. So just stay with it.
and don't meditate while you're driving or operating machinery, because Christopher and I have tried this, and well, let's just say it's a good thing we're sitting here.
Yes, for sure, don't do that. All right, here's something very simple to get the mind clear. So let's just come with the spine straight in. If you're in a chair, if you're seated in easy Cosmin and cross leg, that's even better. And something very practical is to kind of like clear a little the space around the office, around the brain. Each part of the body has their own magnetic field. So because we operate a lot from here, we think that the mind is here, where it's not. It's just the whole body, even beyond. But this is kind of like the office where it holds a lot of information. The brain is like the one of the main parts. Let's clear that space first to make it easier to go into the meditation space. So have the 5 fingers together like this, and you're gonna move from the wrist, meaning you're gonna place them kind of like where your ears are and a little away so you can hear me, so you can move. Perfect. And we're gonna move them forward and back very fast. So your spine is straight, your eyes are closed, your 5 fingers are together, and you just move them forward and back very fast. And if you talk while you do this, you might sound funny. All right, so just go very fast like this with the eyes closed. We're gonna do this for about 30 more seconds.
Cosmin's 30 seconds. It's not 30 seconds in reality.
30 yogic seconds. Now this you can do before a meeting, this you can do before, if you need to take an important decision, if you have to have some mental clarity, just sit down. Again, don't do this while you're driving, please. And you just do this very fast. You can do this up to about 2 minutes. I'm gonna get you more clear mind. Right, 10 more seconds. Please don't count them. Go fast. Keep the eyes closed. Keep the spine straight. Vigorously. 5 more seconds. Vigorously. So we can clear the space. Now inhale. Gently bring the palms on the knees. Exhale. Spine should be straight. Eyes are closed the whole time. Just physically, you put yourself into a space where you're comfortable. And we'll use breathing to get us to the space of meditation. There is a direct relationship between your breath and your mind. So what we'll do is we're going to slow down the breath so we can slow down the mind, so we can go beyond it into the space of meditation. While your head is up and your rib cage, the spine is straight, the rib cage is open so your lungs can breathe correctly and thoroughly. You slowly inhale through the nose, filling up both lungs. Do this for at least 4 seconds. You slowly exhale through the nose, emptying the lungs, getting ready for the next inhale. If 4 seconds is too much for you, then you go a little shorter, maybe 3 seconds. If you can do longer, it's even better. The longer the breath, the better. The mind will slow down and ultimately will stop giving you a glimpse, a second, few seconds of that space that we call meditation. Be at ease and don't try anything, just let it come naturally. The more you try, the more you will go the other way. Just be at ease, slow down your breath. Notice how your mind slows down. It's empty like a sky without any clouds. Whenever any thoughts come, just like a cloud across the sky, it's okay to acknowledge it and go back to breathing. Notice the breathing. Follow the breathing and the cloud way. Keep the breath very slow through the nose, being at ease. Allowing yourself gently for space, thoughts, time, space, just being. Thoughts come back. It's okay to acknowledge it, but you follow the breath, go back to the breath. Follow slow breathing, not the thought. Breathing is your anchor. Breathing is your best friend right now. And when ready, slow, come back and gently move your fingers, feeling back in the physical body. When ready, you can start gently moving, even opening the eyes. Or you get into these spaces, again, just to make sure that it's meditation and not thinking about something. It's like getting lost into thoughts, because the mind is very tricky, can do that to you. The more you go into these spaces, you don't want to come back. You just stay there. It's just like, no, I don't want to go back. So,
No
Yep.
question.
You also don't want to attach to the thought of that space. You don't want to like attach to the space.
well,
Just allow it to be.
there's no thoughts, there's nothing. There's no that. There's just nothing. You are not nothing.
I am nothing
There's no
but a
words
breath.
for it. There's no words for it.
Right. Right.
This is something that you have to really experience it to understand what one is talking about. Otherwise, the language is so limited.
Right.
And this is the beauty of it, because it will be your own experience. So then whatever I said today, it will make sense, not because you believe me, but because you actually felt it, because you actually tasted it. And nobody can take that away from you. This is gold. This is value. This is wealth.
This is amazing.
No
Yeah.
question. No
Amazing.
question. Thank you so much for sharing it with us today, and to everybody listening, and for even taking us through a quick some breaths and meditation. Can you
Yeah.
please let everybody know out there where they can find you, where they can follow you, maybe experience some of this with you as their instructor. Can you please? Yeah, socials, everything. What do you got?
Not your social security number. You know, we got to get them away from asking people for those things.
Almost gotten a few people.
We are modern yogis, so we have a website.
Okay.
The website is RYK, like in Raise Your Kundalini, rykyoga.com.
Okay.
We teach here in Vegas at RYK Yoga and Meditation Center, which is on Jones and Sahara. And we have classes there in the evening. We do Kundalini Yoga meditation classes.
Okay.
Obviously, if you can come in person, there's the best case scenario. But if you live in a different city, then we have classes online.
Oh, that's great.
We do new moon meditation, full moon meditation. We do workshops, trainings. We talked about it, and also we do a lot of retreats. So for the retreats like Bali and India, this year we're going back to India again in October. But also we're building a meditation retreat center in North Carolina by Asheville. So we have a beautiful property over there where we're building a meditation retreat center where when people wanna learn more and experience more, they can just come and stay there with us for a weekend, for a week. It's just Mother Nature, forest and springs and
Amazing.
yeah.
And I think
How
we
do
have.
they follow you on social media? Sorry, Chris.
One way will be probably to look up my name, Cosmin Mahadev Singh, or if you go on the website, which is rykyoga.com,
We have it up.
that one, yep.
Yeah.
I think on the bottom there might be those handles, whatever they're called, social media
Amazing.
shortcuts. Yes.
Amazing. And also, I want people to know that you do work one on one with people. You also do groups for corporations, for businesses, for festivals.
Yeah.
Better than drugs, people. I'll tell you that for sure. This mindset will get you further than anything you take can ever get you. I promise you that. And thank you so much for
Oh,
being on. It
thank
was
you.
a great pleasure as
Thank you very
always.
It was absolutely a great pleasure. Thank you so much.
And thank you everybody for following us today.
Yes, definitely. And thank you, our viewers, and Christopher, who's sponsoring us this year.
Today, who's sponsoring us is LBC Law Group. We're lawyers but different. And also,
Danius Dynamics, where we do individual and group hypnotherapy to help you change from the inside out.
awesome. And
So
thank
we're
you, everybody.
sponsoring ourselves again so far this year.
So far,
Whatever.
so far. But thank you, everyone, for listening. We thought this would be an amazing way to start the year with Cosmin and his insights. Go check out RYK.
RYK, yes.
And please check it out and have a wonderful week. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cosmin. Thank you.